today we're going to look at histograms. This is another type of data display that you're going to create for your project. And a histogram is a type of bar graph that we use to show the frequency of data. And when we talk about frequency, we're talking about how often a number shows up. Think about, for example, when you say something happens frequently, you're talking about how often it happens. So one thing with the histogram that makes it different from a bar graph is that there are no spaces between the bars. The bars are all touching right up next to each other. So it looks different in that sense. And then another thing is that we're grouping them into intervals. So instead of just having a single value, a lot of times our histograms show intervals. So it's going to be a step of, a group of numbers. So in a histogram, the bars will all be the same width. And then they'll just be touching. So when you create your histogram, the first thing you want to do is take all your data and sort it into intervals. And then you'll make the histogram using your data and make sure to label all the different parts. So let's look at an example of this. So you're going to flip this to the back side. And we're going to use this data. We've got the number of hours of TV watched per week. So this part here is what we would call our frequency table. And we're broken down into intervals here. So 0 through 4, 5 through 9. So we get those numbers because we look at our smallest number here is a 4. And then our biggest number is a 24. So what we're doing is splitting this up so you have equal size intervals. You want your intervals to be equal sizes. So from 0 to 4, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we've got 5 values there. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5 values there. 10, 11, 12, 13. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 5 values there. So each interval has 5 values. So that's what we're looking for there. So between 0 and 4, we've only got one number here. So I'm going to tally it off and put that here. Then we want to go and see, okay, 5 through 9. Well, we have 1, 2, there. 10 through 14. 1, 2, okay. And then 15 through 19. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then lastly is 20 through 24. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So now we want to take our frequency table and turn it into the histogram. So what we want to do is figure out, okay, what's going to go on the bottom, what's going to go on the top. So frequency always goes on our y-axis here. So you can go ahead and label, you can kind of turn it over and label this frequency. That's always our y-axis. Because the frequency is, that's how tall the bar is going to be. So our frequency, our highest one is 10. So I don't have 10 spaces here, so I'm just going to count by 2s. So 0, this would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay. And so then I'm going to put the number of hours down here at the bottom, and I'm going to label this number of hours. Okay. And then the next thing we want to do is figure out, okay, we want our bars to all be the same width, and they're all going to be touching. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 intervals, so we need 5 equal size bars. So I'm going to use a ruler for this. And I'm just going to set it here, and it goes from 0 to about 11.5. So I'm just going to kind of go a little bit in towards the middle. And I'm going to go from 0 to 10. And I'm going to mark, since I've got 10 centimeters, I'm using the centimeters here, because I want them all the same width. So I'm just going to mark every 2 centimeters. So I just marked every 2 centimeters here, so I know where my bars are going to go. So I know in 0 and 4, I've got 1, 5 through 9 is 2. So first, let's go ahead and label our intervals. So this one is 0 through 4, then the 5 through 9. We've got 10 through 14, 15 through 19, and 20 through 24. So 0 through 4, I've only got a frequency of 1, So I'm just going to go up halfway here between the 0 and 2. You can shade that in if you want to. 5 through 9 has a frequency of 2. So I'm going to, remember I want them to connect, so it's going to go all the way up to the 2. 10 through 14 also has a frequency of 2. 15 through 19 goes up to 5. So I'm going to go halfway, and you can use your ruler to make straight edges. I'm going to go halfway between the 4 and 6 here. Just close that up, shade it down a little bit. All right, and then 20 through 24 has a frequency of 10, so that one's going to go all the way up to the 10 here. All right, and then you can shade it all the way down as well. Okay, so you can see the frequency at each interval.